all you men who stand up men, who go out there and put your elbow into making a woman make sure she's straight and hard working and respectable, chest up, chin out men, and you really on the grind and you really got ambition, man, leave these little pretty girls alone, bro. They don't put their elbow in it. I'm gonna keep it 100. Over there looking at, oh, she bad. Oh, look at her Instagram. Oh, she a 9, she a 10. No, I'll get you a 5 or a 6 who gonna put some elbow into it and gonna be down for you on some 100. You know what I'm saying? They gonna look at you like, why he with her? Don't worry about why I'm with her. Cause she gonna do everything you ain't doing. 100%. And that's the new wave we should be on, fellas. Like, man, forget all that how you look when you with your arm around her. Nah, she ain't got no substance to her.
Good evening, gentlemen, and a few of you ladies that may be listening. This is Spiritual Art of War, back at it again with another episode. And this time we're going to talk about the statement made by none other than NBA legend, Hall of Famer, Paul Pierce. He made a statement that a lot of women feel very offended by, and it is him encouraging men to deal with the woman who's a 5 or 6 who is going to be a proper helpmate. He didn't use the word helpmate, but he used in so many words a woman that's going to hold you down, that's going to be there with you through thick and thin, who's going to really truly admire you, who's going to be on your program. And this is actually something that I've said even in one of my videos earlier where I talked about how, and I think, it's funny enough, it was actually a young woman who actually messaged me a few days ago about a statement that I made on one of those videos, and exactly this subject, about encouraging men to not chase after the dream woman, okay? The dream girl. There's a reason why she's called a dream girl. The reason why she's called a dream girl, because you have to be asleep to believe it. You know what I'm saying? Because the fact is that, and the thing about it is, men are more realistic than idealistic. You're idealistic when you're a child. When you're younger, you're in your teens, maybe even when you're in your early 20s, you are more idealistic. You want to go big or go home. So you want the baddest woman that you can get, or the baddest woman that you see, and you're going to probably shoot for that. You're going to be more aggressive towards that. But the truth is, and this is what's known among men, is that, a woman who is good looking enough, which is what I talked about, on your personal scale, but does everything else right, is the best option for a man. Okay? And women did not like this. They did not like it at all. In fact, he had a saying where, and I think I've even said this before. He said, if you see me with her, don't ask why I'm with her. You know what I'm saying? Like, meaning, like, if you see me with something, like he's saying, if you see me with something that's a 5 or 6, it's not on a baddie level, and you're wondering like why, don't even ask. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not even worth you asking, because he's basically saying he's saying that you may see him with something that may not look like a lot of sense, but it makes sense to him. And to be honest, when you go to other parts of the world, more traditional parts of the world, men didn't really fully select for beauty, because a lot of times you weren't able to just fully select for that because of just the nature of where you lived. It might be some kind of a partnership, marriage between two families, especially in the ancient world. So it wasn't always that you got like the baddest chick, so to speak. Now, amongst maybe the nobles, the ones that would be selecting maybe for, concubinage, maybe they would select the prettier ones, of course. But when it came to families, if you look at a lot of marriages that were done among nobility, and even amongst, the royalty, they were selecting based off of, family ties, right? And the thing about it is, I think the reason why that was actually more likely to happen, because the fact is that they were getting these women very young. And there's like a time there's a period in a woman's life where really she's gonna be kind of, you could say, a standard level of cute to pretty. Like there's like an age range. Even if you even look at like a lot of women that are not considered attractive, maybe by the time they're like 30, 40 years old, if you caught them when they were in their prime, they would actually be like cute to pretty. You know, some women peak in high school. Like that's just a reality. Like meaning that their best years was when they were younger. And they never got better after that, right? Because maybe they might have gained weight, or maybe they might have went through a phase where maybe their looks didn't pan out a certain way. So there's a reason why, you know, of old time, men were trying to marry off their daughters younger because they knew that their desirability may wane later. And that's why it was kind of dangerous to be like thinking that, especially for a lot of these women out here that are saying they're going to wait till they're older to get married or settle down. I could think of even a family that I know of that had 3 daughters. And like all 3 daughters literally peaked at 18, 19. Like peaked, man. You know what I'm saying? I'm talking about like one looking like, you know, a young 20-year-old Serena Williams, you know, athletic build, thick, you know. Then another one was looking like Bria Miles. Another one was looking like one of the tall one from SWV. No cap. Like I'm telling you literally how they look like. The one looked like Bria Miles too. That was like the middle daughter. And she was bad. Like bad. I went to college with her too. And she peaked at like 19, 20, bro. Like if you see her now, you wouldn't even think she looked like that. You know what I mean? Not that she's like unattractive, but the fact is that her best years were like when she was like 18, 19, 20. So imagine just that window of time where she could have maximized like what she could have got on the market based on what her beauty was at the time. And so this is kind of like what's going on is women are not maximizing that. But there is something called utility, where a woman can gain utility. She can gain certain qualities, like maybe she can become a good cook. I can think of, there's actually a young chef, something younger or something like that. She actually just got married, but she's like a celebrity chef. She was in one of those like celebrity shows where they're, you know, showing off their cooking skills. And if you win, you get all this money and, you know, accolades and stuff like that. I think she ended up winning, but I know she's like a multi-millionaire now. If I'm not mistaken, she's from like Baltimore, white girl, skinny, cute, you know what I'm saying? But nothing to write home about. But I'm gonna tell you this. If you go in the comments, and men know this, the way she cooks and throws down in the kitchen and her pleasant attitude, even though she's like an average to cute looking, and she's young, you know, meaning she's like in her early 20s, late teens, or I think she was like in her late teens when she started, but she's like in her early 20s now. And she's now engaged to be married to, you know, her boyfriend. So it's a whole different ball game. But what I'm saying is this, is that what she provided in terms of her attitude and her cooking and her baking skills, a lot of men that could get something better looking on the market, they would choose her. I'm telling you, she would just 9 out of 10 men that could do better, that could go get a baddie, would choose her. Okay, this guy's driving real funny style. This is, yeah. So that's just the reality of like what's really out there and what Paul Pierce is talking about. Okay, so if you got utility and you bring value, and this is what Kevin Samuels was talking about. These women were not assessing what they brought beauty-wise and what they brought as a skill or an asset to a man. And they could not get it. These women could not get it. They were too busy thinking that they were of value because, remember, a lot of these women, their friends lied to them, their mama lied to them, their auntie lied to them, and then thirsty men lied to them, telling them that they're beautiful, telling them that they're a baddie. I mean, very thirsty. There's enough thirsty men out here to make Gabrielle Sidide feel like a dime. No, I'm not kidding you. Because I knew guys like that, bro, for real, that literally almost any woman was attracted to. They just felt like we're attractive. It was crazy. You know, and be careful around those guys, man. Those guys their mind ain't working right, man. There is objective beauty, bro. It does really exist. Okay? And they actually studied this in children. Even infants know, like, what is an objectively beautiful woman to look at on an objective level. Okay? And that's why you see children, if a woman looks like a witch, Cruella de Vil, and she's looking like Wild Witch of the West, man, they run away. Like, unless that's like their mother or something. You know what I'm saying? Which they kind of developed an emotional attachment to, of course. But other than that, they'll run away from a Wicked Witch of the West. Okay? They know what looks scary and what looks appealing. Okay? What looks pleasant. So, these women are offended by that, get a 5 or a 6, because the thing about it, women want to feel that their husbands look at them as the most beautiful woman on the planet. And women don't understand that men are very different. A man could marry a woman that he knows is not the most beautiful woman he's ever seen. I mean, it's just like growing up. You have celebrity crushes. Women cannot disassociate themselves from certain things. Men could be like, growing up in the 90s, Carmen Electra, Pamela Anderson, Naomi Campbell, Halle Berry, Rosie Perez, Selena. There's a whole bunch of women that were considered very beautiful in that era. But men knew that what is the chance of you actually marrying women that look like that? Slim to none. And they were content with that. That's why there's a saying about the girl next door. That is really what Paul Pierce is talking about. The girl next door whose beauty grows on you subjectively. Those are actually those are the kind of women that actually sneak up on men, are the ones that are not drop dead gorgeous. There's nothing fantastic about them, but through those women having other qualities, and youth is also very important. This is why women are out here despising their youth and throwing it away to random men, and then wanting to sell or present themselves as if they're, new cars. Like you're a new Porsche 911 on the market. No, you're not that. You're really a used Honda Accord. Okay? Some of them salvaged. And women don't understand this. They don't understand this mindset behind what Paul Pierce is talking about. But I fully understand it. Because, and I always said it before, I tell you, the hardest, the most, the woman, or the quote unquote, the crushes that really get men the most is the one that sneaks up on them. Not the one that's obvious. It's the woman who a man works with or goes to school with or just sees on a regular basis, and you see her, the way she carries herself and the way, like, some of her value. Maybe she knows how to cook. Maybe she's a good cleaner. That's why there's a joke when a woman would say, "Oh, I don't cook and I don't clean. You go. Why don't you go get a maid?" Who said, "You know what? I'm gonna just go ahead and marry the maid then." See, the man is just gonna go marry the maid. You say you don't want to cook and clean? Well, the man is just gonna go marry the maid. And the maid may not be as good looking as the woman that he was dealing with. And this is what hurts a lot of women. This is why a lot of women get confused when they see a man that they were with. They know that they're the better looking. They know that they're the better looking woman. from the one that the man ended up settling down with, and they're perplexed. They're like, how, like, why would he choose her? She's not better looking than me. And this is like one of the things that just gets one, but you know why that gets them? Because they do not listen to what men have been saying. They're not listening. I mean, I don't think there's even one, like even if they listen to all these red pill guys, the red pill guys is all saying the same thing. The very beautiful woman end up becoming short term, put on rotation. Yeah, sometimes a very hot woman, but in this day and age, the ego of beautiful women is like through the roof because of social media. So there was a time when you had those like women that were good looking, but they had like a realistic aspect of themselves because they weren't always like showered with these. Even a beautiful woman is not even told she's beautiful all the time, especially when you're talking about pre-social media, because some people just stare and look and just go about their way. You get a few people that will say how good looking they are to their face, and generally those will be like older women. You know, an older woman might walk up to him like, "Oh my gosh, you're so gorgeous, you're so pretty." Even ask her if she does any modeling and stuff, or it might be some gay dude or something like that. That's the kind of stuff that they were getting back then. And I know this because you could just, I've seen this stuff happen even at work back before social media, where they'll hire like this, they'll have a new hire and she's, you know, gorgeous, fresh out of college. I mean, she just on, you know, on another level. And I could think of one, I'll probably tell us that story another day, you know, because I have a whole story behind her. But, and when she got hired on, who was the first ones complimenting her on her beauty? It was the older, more content woman. The women that were like 45 plus, happily married. They'll outright tell them, "Oh, girl, they'll tell them that they're gorgeous, they're pretty." Who else? The gay dude that works there. He'll tell her how gorgeous and pretty she is, outright. And that's really all they would usually get. They wouldn't get the guys the men that liked her. They're not telling her that. They're just sitting there gawking, looking away, not trying to get eye contact because they shy. But now a woman can get that on her DM all day, in her comments all day. "I'll drink your bath water." "Oh, where the stepdaddy application at?" "Oh, you're the most beautiful woman in the world." I mean, you see that all in the comments of these women. So now they're getting gassed up. You're getting gassed up like helium, man. Like a hot air balloon, man. You know? I mean, that's just what it is. But when it comes to these women that are average to cute, that 5 to 6 range, and they have qualities, and this is why I think one of the things that women that are average, really, this is across the board. It don't matter if a woman is average to gorgeous. One of the things that I wonder why a lot of women don't do this, and you saw this with the Cooking with Kaya. Show off your wifely skills. Show your ability to cook, bake. Show your cleaning skills. Maybe show your organization skills. Make yourself valuable. Show your value out there. And that's going to elevate your profile. A woman who's just, cute. See, and this is the thing. It's really not that hard for a woman to be cute. And this is the thing. All that is just really just finding a proper hairstyle. Keeping your weight down. Because really, to be honest, it's better for you to be petite and cute than it is for you to try and be like, let me, try and go for the BBL look. Especially if you're young. I don't understand why women just don't get it. And I understand they're getting a lot of mixed signals. They're getting a lot of mixed messages. Especially if you're looking and following like people that are very, especially when you're following people that are very celebrity status. You're following like Moneybag Yo and he's with Ari or whatever her name is. And you're like, oh, I gotta look like Ari if I want to get a guy like that. Or you see these athlete baby mamas and stuff and you're like, oh man, I gotta look like that. Yeah, you're shooting too damn high. I mean, what percentage of men are rappers and athletes? You know, it just it boggles my mind how women will use that as a standard. Men know, man. We see these women, we see these IG models. Unless you like, we know that's just fantasy. That's all it is. Women don't understand men at all, right? Men will follow like exotic car pages and we'll see the new Bugatti and we'll watch it and we'll be like, wow, man, that new Bugatti. Man, the percentage of men that will ever own a Bugatti is so low, it's ridiculous. Like, it's so low, it's like a minuscule amount of men that will ever own a Bugatti. But heck, we don't mind going to a Cars and Coffee and seeing that joker drive by. Take a few pictures and videos of it. And just tell your friend about how you saw that new Bugatti. You know what I'm saying? I ain't talking about the song. I woke up in the new Bugatti. Some of y'all remember that. Some of you are old enough to remember that song. You know what I'm saying? But women don't understand that men look at these gorgeous women, these 9s and 10s. Men are looking at them like an exotic vehicle that they're never going to purchase. It's good. It's fun to look at, but nothing more, nothing less. It's like, yo, you seen that Bugatti? Okay, we keep it moving. You see a lot of men that even have money, a lot of times their sentimental cars that they really like are not even those cars. It's like, even if they had the money, they always want that old school. You know, they want that old school. They want to get like a Chevy truck from the early 2000s and refurbish it and put a lift on it. You know? That's how men think. Men think from a nostalgic standpoint, and we think from a simplistic standpoint that we're actually cool with simplicity. A lot of women don't even understand that about men. And this just comes from the fact that women it's hard for them to understand it because at the end of the day, it was fathers and the older men of these women that chose their husbands. This is what it comes down to. That's why it's really a waste of time sometimes to talk to women about this stuff, because at the end of the day, they're not supposed to be thinking about this. The decisions are supposed to be made, executive decisions in their lives are supposed to be made by the men in their life. Because if it's up to them for you to help them think about why or why not, you're going to be wasting your time. You really are. Okay? This is the reason why back in the ancient world, when a female reached of age to be married, they just made the decision for her. They made the decision for her. And that's just what it was. And psychologically, she accepted it. It was natural. Okay? You had daughters begging. The begging their parents, like, especially if they had an older sister that got married off, they were like, when am I next? They just wanted to be married, have children. They didn't think about what kind of man it would be. As long as the family approved, just like I told you in one of the other videos. Social proof, or, basically social acceptance of a man. If a man was socially acceptable to your parents, to your siblings, to your relatives, and to the people in your village, that was enough for a young woman to move on into that marriage. That was enough because the validation was already there. That made the fact that that man was really considered acceptable enough to them, it's acceptable enough to me. Now, because of the modern world we're in, everything is all upside down. Now, you got these older women who've already had all the experiences and been objectified by other men and had sex with them, had relationships, been accepted, been rejected. Now they got all these things in their mind, and the last thing they want to hear is that the man that's probably marrying them, that gave her his last name, he's possibly looking at me like I'm average at best. And that bothers them because they want to be objectified. They want to be worshipped. Just like Eve wanted to be worshipped. They want to be objectified. They want to be worshipped. They want to be a diva. That's why what Paul Pierce said is just he just said the silent thing out loud. And this is coming, and that's a man who had baddies, bro. There's a woman that he got with that none of us regular people will never know about. But we wouldn't be surprised if we heard it. He's an NBA player, made of millions of dollars, 6'7" from Inglewood. You know what I'm saying? Got the gift of gab, can hold a conversation, respected among other men. So you can imagine what he dealt with, and he's saying this. So these women don't, man, listen, it is what it is, man. Let me know what you think. Like, share, subscribe. Catch you in the next episode.